celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
On today's show, we're going to have a guy that he's making a living out of creating DNA kits to test your dog's, poo. I guess these apartment complexes are using that just in case you're one of those people that don't pick up your poo after, not your poo, your dog's poo. Clarify
Another
that.
whole picture coming into mind there.
Yes. You could be in trouble in cities like Dallas. There's now a fine, a $250 fine if you don't pick up your dog's poo. And he's making money off of this whole thing. We'll talk to him in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Also in studio in just a few minutes, we'll be talking to Lynn and Roy Roden. They, of course, are traveling across the country with their dogs, Samantha and Oliver, to raise awareness for Parkinson's disease. They are in the Central California area, and they'll be in our studio in just a couple of minutes right here on Animal Radio. Also, if you've seen the pictures of underwater dogs, maybe you saw it on CNN or it's been on every television show, these dogs jumping in the water to grab a ball. And there's a photographer who we'll be talking to in a few minutes, Seth Casteel, I believe. He takes pictures of the dogs from underwater and gets some amazing photos.
Cool. My dogs do that.
They jump in they get balls in the water?
They go underwater, yeah. They dive to the bottom of the pool.
Take pictures of Dr. Debbie.
Yeah. In a wetsuit.
We'll have giveaways, by the way, of his book, Underwater Dogs, and his calendar all on the way right here. In fact, we have a lot of giveaways today. If you're one of those people that puts off your shopping till the very last moment, like I do, I wait till Christmas Eve. That's when I do my shopping. We'll have gifts for you to put underneath your Christmas tree or your Hanukkah bush. Taking your phone calls to talk to Dr. Debbie, dog trainer Alan Cable, dog father Joey Villani, and we have Sherry on the phone. Hi, Sherry. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Splendid. What's going on with your animal?
Well, I've got a almost 4-month-old little teacup Chihuahua, and I know teacup is used, sort of. It's not really a word. I mean, it's not really a breed, but at any rate, she's a teacup. And she weighs almost 2 pounds, not quite. And the veterinarian here, who is her vet, is wanting me to have her spayed. And my concern is her weight. And I was just kind of curious about whether the little ones go into heat as often or, just some ins and outs and what's the best course of action for me to take.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely. We do want to get this girl spayed. And with any dog, any breed, the preference is to do that before they go into a heat cycle. That makes the breast cancer risk almost zero. And that's when we want to do that. We don't want to wait until they get older and they get after a heat cycle or a pregnancy. So for small breeds and toy breeds in general, yes, they can kind of have a little different timing of onset when they go into their first heat. Sometimes the smaller the toy breeds might be a little earlier. So in comparison,
really?
We might
Earlier.
Yeah, so sometimes they might go in, anywhere from 6 months to maybe 10 months of age. Whereas the larger breed dogs, it's usually even up to a year. Even some giant breeds may not go into heat until they're a year and a half. So it can kind of vary. But I would be prepared. I would not delay it past that 6-month point. And kind of the next point of your question in there is, her size. And I understand your concerns for her petite frame.
Right.
But generally, for the veterinarian, size doesn't matter. I love that. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
You made yourself laugh, didn't you?
I did. I just, sorry. But yes, we do surgery on, less than 1 pound ferrets and guinea pigs. So size isn't what scares us. We want to have your pet mature, fully vaccinated, in good health. Now, sometimes for some of the little breeds, they can have other types of problems. We want to monitor and make sure we can address that if necessary. So a lot of times little Chihuahuas don't drop their teeth when they should. So that's sometimes I'll kind of watch that and just see if it's going to be something we need to address. So I don't like to do the little breeds too early, meaning like 4 months. I would prefer to wait till about 6 months so we can watch those teeth and see if we need to.
That is what they suggested. You've answered a big question for me because my assumption was that the little ones probably would go longer before they would go into heat. So it's really, really knowledgeable for me to know that that's actually opposite. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
So I guess the 6 months. Now, she did have parvo, and she bravely got through that, which was just shocking because her blood sugar was down to 13, and she only weighed 12 ounces. But boy, she pulled through, and she's a champ. So I'm even more hesitant to put her under, but I guess.
But like I said, veterinarians, I'm sure your vet is very capable with managing things like hypoglycemia, temperature concerns for these little guys. And there's a lot, veterinary medicine has come a long way, even since my youthful career. So, so I think that there's a lot that, maybe in past years and past decades, people have a lot more concerns in their minds about things that, with previous pets. But nowadays, it's something that's so common. And like I said, if they're doing surgery on small little kittens and doggies, they'll be very capable to do this on your pup.
Okay. Well, thank you for easing my mind.
All right. Well, very good. Give that little baby a pat on the head. And what's your baby's name?
Sophie.
Well, wish her well for me and give her a good kiss.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your call, Sherry, to the Dream Team here at Animal Radio. Dr. Debbie answering your vet medical questions. Alan Cable. I don't know if we can really change that legally.
Dr. Debbie makes me want to go to veterinary school and become a professional just so I can say naughty things on the radio.
She gets away with it, too. You notice that?
I could say all sorts of things like poop and shit. And sound really professional, right?
Let's see. You've actually made dog father Joey Villani blush there. The eggnog. By the way, this stuff is really fattening. I don't know if you know this, but this is like 400 calories a glass.
I don't want to know what's in it. All I know is you don't want any of your pets to eat it or to drink it.
And why is that? Is it especially harmful?
Well, it tastes really yummy, and it's very easy for them to consume it and to not realize the alcohol content. Just kind of like, underage drinkers, they don't realize it's quite yummy. So that can really be a danger for the cats and dogs.
There's alcohol in this? I didn't realize that. Maybe that's why I'm thinking.
That's what you think, Hal.
Let's go to line 4. We have Kathy for Alan. Hi, Kathy. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Do you have all your Christmas shopping done?
Oh, no. Not even close.
I wait till the night before. I wait till Christmas Eve, and then I head out to the 7-Eleven and do it. What's going on with your dog?
Well, I was just wondering if I could get some tips on clicker training. We have a dog that we recently adopted about a month and a half ago, and we've had dogs my whole life, but I've never clicker trained, and this one I think could use it. So I was just wondering about your thoughts on that.
Well, let's talk about clicker training. It's kind of cool that you called and asked that question. Do you understand what positive reinforcement is, Kath?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what you do with clickers. You positively reinforce the dog with a clicker, and the clicker's not the actual reward. The clicker tells the dog that he's doing something that you like. And the first thing you do when you get a clicker is you load it, and that means you click the dog, give your dog a little treat. Click the dog, give your dog a little treat, so that the dog learns very quickly that whenever he or she hears the clicker, he's going to get a treat. That's what that tells him. The next thing you do is you look for your dog to do behaviors that you like. And every time you catch your dog doing something that you like, you click and give the dog a treat and say the word. So in other words, if your dog just sat down on his own, was being all mellow and calm, you would click and go, good dog, sit, good dog, give him a treat, just like that. So he would learn every time he sat that was a desired behavior and that he was going to get a treat. And that's how you use a clicker. You don't use it to stop the dog from doing stuff you don't like. You use it to get the dog to do stuff you do like. So in other words, if your dog is chewing something you don't like, you take that out of his mouth, you put something he does like in it, you want him to chew in his mouth, click it and say, good boy, So you teach the dog what he's supposed to do and not what he's not supposed to do. And you click. And timing is very important. So you have to click right when the dog's doing the behavior. So it's really cool to have a friend just lead your dog around the house on a leash and observe. And whenever the dog does something cool that you like lays down or sits, click, give him a treat, good boy, and you move on.
Are there certain breeds that it works better with, or is it pretty generic?
Well, we talk about chows. That's the one breed that nothing works on. We were talking to a guy last week about chow dogs. They're very hard to train. They're like cats, and they're going to do what they want to do. But mostly every other dog, it will work. It's just you got to be patient because especially young dogs are manic and crazy and kooky, and they're into everything. So it's real important that you don't go hog wild with the clicker because it'll just confuse the dog. So you have to actually mellow and calm the dog out, and the best way to do that, again, is exercise. The best time to teach a dog good behavior is after exercise because the dog's exhausted and is mellow. And that's a great time to do a training exercise with your dog after your dog's tired.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's very helpful. We're definitely going to start that right away.
Yep. Just be patient and be consistent, and it'll all come together, and you'll see amazing results. Just be patient and realize it doesn't happen in one day. It takes the dog time. But once you load that clicker and teach your dog, wow, whenever I hear that click sound, I'm going to get a treat, it becomes easy.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your help. Happy holidays.
Thanks for listening, Kathy. We appreciate it. Dr. Debbie answering your vet medical questions. Dog trainer Alan Kibble. Can I call you Kibble now? Do you have a problem with that?
Kibble.
Kibble.
You know what, man? You call me whatever you want.
I like that.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. After a long day of chasing that frisbee, there's nothing better than wrapping your paws around a cold bottle of dog beer. That's what Terry Barrendon, a pet shop owner in Holland, thought, so she created a beer for her Weimaraners. Barrendon consigned a local brewery to bottle her non-alcoholic dog beer and named it Kwitsbel beer. Kwitsbel beer is a Dutch word for wagging a tail. The beer is made from beef extract and malt, and although it's fit for human consumption, she's marketing the beer for dogs who need a break from taking naps and wagging their tails and eating and playing with dog toys. And I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. That's 800-880-3141.
Here, Joey, hand me some of those chestnuts.
Here you go. They're not hot anymore, though.
You should see us now. We look like, we're, as you know, we're the three hoes in Santa right now, pretty much. Joey Villani, who I have the pleasure of introducing, wearing a Santa hat today. Are you Santa? I kind of thought always that you were Santa.
You know, I'm going to tell everyone, they make me wear these things here. They made me wear a turkey suit in Thanksgiving, okay, just so everyone knows. So, yes, I'm Santa. Hey, you know, that topic last week, I think brought up a lot of interesting things because I have a vet, Ray, that actually texted me and actually emailed me, I should say, and wanted to know. They're starting to make, and it's more of a, I don't know, I shouldn't say fashion statement, like a fad, that they're trying to put shampoos in like bar soap form, and she wanted to know how would that be for a pet.
What would be the advantage to that?
The advantage would be it's just easier, more convenient that just to grab a bar of soap while you got your dog, and as you're massaging it through, you have it in your hand. So you got lather on demand.
Gotcha.
The problem is this. In bar soaps, this is the best example I can use. If you don't clean your shower for a little while, and you know how you get that soap buildup?
Yeah.
That is from what is in the bar soap, okay? It's not the soap itself.
Like
Because
scum.
If you use exactly scum. If you use the body wash, you'll have no soap scum. And the reason why is it's what holds the soap together is actually what causes that. So think about this. Now you're using it in your pet's coat. You cannot rinse it clean, okay? There's a reason why we don't use bar soap in our hair, because otherwise we would just use it in our hair as well. It's because it leaves tremendous residue. So what this is going to do is it's going to build up, it's going to dull the coat majorly after a while, and it's going to cause knotting and tangling a little bit more extensively than just a regular shampoo would, because that's going to build in there. And you've heard me say this a million times, but you have stuff that sticks. Hair sticks to hair, and it twists, and it sticks again, and it twists, and it sticks again, and then all of a sudden, you look like a Rastafarian because you got dreadlocks, and that's what's going to happen. I know it's a great concept, it's a great idea, but they do not make a bar soap for pets that I know of yet, and I basically think I know them all.
You do.
That does not leave a residue, okay? It's not like you're not zestfully clean, let's put it that way. Your pet's going to come out with knots and tangles. Stay away from it. If you're going to just use a good quality shampoo like we spoke about on the show last week, and go with that. Stay away from the bar soaps, and you'll be much happier, and your pet will be much happier, because they also cause itching because of what's left behind on dogs that have sensitive skin. So stay away. I tried it. You know what the funny part was? Is we actually even wanted to, when I was coming out with pet products, that was one of the things that I looked into, and that's how, after doing the research, that's what we found out.
That sounds like a clever idea, but I can see where the scum can become a problem.
It's a great selling concept.
Okay, good advice from Joey Villani, the dog father on Animal Radio.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But what do you know about that most famous reindeer of all? For some, the television appearance of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer marks the true beginning of the holiday season. Written in 1964 as a Christmas promotion for the Montgomery Ward department stores, the story of Rudolph and his flying reindeer friends is the longest-running special on television. But do you know that behind this beloved stop-motion animated TV show is a true story of flying reindeer? It makes perfect sense that reindeer would be Santa's animal of choice. Reindeer live exclusively in the north. Their thick coats and wide feet are perfect for the sub-zero cold of Scandinavia, Russian Europe, and Asia, where 5,000 years ago, reindeer were the first large animals to be domesticated. In Greenland, Iceland, Canada, and Alaska, reindeer are wild and more popularly known as caribou. Reindeer became extinct in Scotland in the 10th century, but somewhere in the psyche of the hardy Scots, they were necessary, for they were reintroduced to that country in 1952. Laplanders use reindeer to pull sleighs, and so does the postman in Wales, Alaska. For northern cultures, reindeer is revered as a totem power animal, one that can fly through the world of spirit to commune with the high gods. Reindeer is the sacred animal that carries the Arctic shaman to the otherworld. In fact, the relationship between reindeer and shaman holds special significance for Rudolph and Santa. During midwinter ceremonies, the shamans of the far north would partake of the hallucinogenic fly argyric mushroom, that bright red mushroom with red spots that we see associated with fairy tales and Christmas decorations, to achieve an altered state that would allow the shaman to travel into otherworldly realms. In ceremonies held to honor the December 21st winter solstice, the local shaman would enter a yurt through the smoke hole at the top, bringing with him a bag of the colorful mushrooms, and then departing again through the smoke hole after the festivities. This entry and departure through the ceiling led people to believe the shaman could fly. And since reindeer also considered the hallucinogenic colorful red mushroom a delicious delicacy, they were believed to fly with him. A blessed man who carries a bag full of special red and white gifts down a chimney lives in the far north and flies with reindeer. Sound familiar? In ancient Norse myth, Thor, the god of thunder and lightning, which in Old German is Donner and Blitzen, also lived in the far north and was associated with the color red. Thor fought the gods of snow and ice to conquer cold and bring spring. And he did it while riding in a golden flying chariot pulled by 2 flying goats, Gnasher and Cracker. During this holiday season, when you see a shiny red-nosed Rudolph adorning a lawn, store window, or parade float, remember, this reindeer carries in his sleigh a legacy of Arctic shamans, flying goats, and the god of thunder and lightning. Certainly reason enough he should go down in history.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Boy, thank God for that Facebook. In response to an alleged increase of dog shootings by police officers, several people, including owners of murdered pets, are starting to use Facebook as a tool to increase awareness of the problem and seek change to police policies towards dogs. Videos of dog shootings, they're all over the internet. It seems like there's a new one every week. Well, unfortunately, the number of videos online is not a misrepresentation of the high number of dog shootings. It's impossible to actually determine the exact number of dog shootings by police officers because records aren't kept by every police department in the country. However, though, in Milwaukee, the 28th largest city in the country, a recent lawsuit claimed that more than 400 dogs were shot to death by police officers over a 9-year period. Now, if those numbers are similar for cities around the U.S., a low estimate for the annual number of dogs that are killed per year by police in 30 largest cities alone is about 1,100. In addition, a dog training manual for police that's been published by the Department of Justice showed that most police shootings incidents do involve dogs. In L.A., at least 1/2 of all intentional discharges of a forearm by an officer from 2000 to 2005 involved an animal, according to a study. Unreal. You know, dogs and millionaires have a lot in common. They're relentless opportunists, especially when it comes to rewards. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, and they defend their turf. In general, they don't like cats, believe it or not. Perhaps that explains a new survey that shows that millionaires are far more dog-friendly than the rest of Americans. According to a study by Spectrem Group, 58% of millionaire pet owners have a dog. Only 37% own a cat, and only 3% keep fish, 2% birds, and 2% have a horse. Why have millionaires gone to the dogs? Well, Jennifer Kona, she's a trust and estates attorney, said dogs provide one thing especially important to the wealthy: unconditional love. You don't get that from a cat. Of course, dogs are like kids for some families, except they don't mess up in college or run off with money. Sometimes it's easy to see why dogs are the favorite child. Plus, she says millionaires know that dogs don't love them for their money. It's unbiased love, and money doesn't enter into the equation. That's important. Millionaires show their love for their dogs in part by their spending. 1/4 of millionaire pet owners spend more than $1,000 a year on their pets. The Spectrum study said while more than half spend more than $500 a year. Well, business is booming for a Brigham Young University student. She recently started a puppy rental service.
They sign a waiver, basically contracting to treat the puppy well, and it's like a liability agreement.
Jenna Miller says she's had more than 100 rentals since August. The business has stirred some controversy with the Utah Humane Society concerned about the health of the dogs. I'm Stacy Cohen. Yet more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
This portion of Animal Radio is brought to you by Tag, the pet tracker. Answer these questions honestly. Does your pet exercise enough? Do they ever take off and you lose them? You can track your pet's activity right from your computer or phone, smartphone.
I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, well, you know what? We had a caller in this morning. He said, why not use it on my... He said he could have used it 3 years ago on his spouse, whose ex-spouse.
Well, that's why. I can't walk the dog and say I'm going somewhere.
Not only that...
I mean, if I wanted to go to the local bar, forget about it. I'm caught.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yep. Forget about it.
We're going to open a bar called He's Not Here.
No, I got a better idea. What we're going to do is we're going to rent out dogs with this pet tracker on it and have a ghost walk them around while we go to the bar.
You guys are terrible.
Well, you don't want your spouse knowing you're not where you're supposed to be, and definitely don't want them to know your activities a little more than it should be. So that's all I'm saying. Head on over to tag.com. That's TAGG.com. I forgot where we were. We're doing a radio show.
Yes, we are.
Did you know that?
Quiz.
Yeah. Too much eggnog here in the studio.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You guys load us up with eggnog.
I know. I should have waited till after the show.
Do a show.
Okay, if you don't have your presents for Christmas yet, and there's a chance, like me, that you don't have them yet, 3 days before Christmas, one of the things you might want to check out is the Underwater Dogs book or calendar. Now, you may have seen this various places. The pictures of the dogs that are first jumping underwater, and they're usually going after a Kong ball or a tennis ball or something like that. It's made a splash this year, so to speak. The book is doing really well, and the calendar is doing phenomenal, too. They make great Christmas gifts. We have the photographer on the phone with Seth Casteel. How are you doing, Seth?
Hey, guys. I am fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, so a lot of people have seen this already. Have you seen this, Alan?
I don't think I've seen it. Maybe. How long have you been doing it? Because it seems to ring a bell. Like I've seen it before.
Well, the pictures became popular last February, just about 10 months ago, and then the book's just come out here in October 23rd.
That's so cool.
Well, how did you come up with this idea? I heard it was sort of a fluke.
It was a happy accident. Dogs are my passion. They're my career. They're my entire life. And I'm interested in the emotion of dogs. I was photographing a little dog called Buster, Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, in California, just doing a land photo shoot, sort of telling his story through photos. That's what I love to do. And he decided he would rather do an in-the-pool photo shoot than on land. So he starts jumping in the pool over and over again, chasing his little, mini tennis ball. And I was watching him do this. And he was actually submerging, he was actually going under a little bit, coming back up and having so much fun. So I thought, I wonder what that looks like. I bought a little point-and-shoot underwater camera, came back to the photo shoot, did a couple snapshots, and that was the beginning of the series of Underwater Dogs.
Are these
That's cool.
Are these cheap cameras you can get somewhere? Are these underwater cameras, or are they really expensive?
There's so many great options for underwater. I mean, at the time, I had $0, actually $-, and I bought a little point-and-shoot camera for maybe $200, a little Sony point-and-shoot underwater camera. And you can still buy these. I think Olympus makes one, Sony makes one. They're fun to take under for a couple of meters and do some snapshots. So certainly you can get some nice pictures. And then for the book itself and the series that's in the book, I actually explored different types of underwater gear. So, you can get an underwater camera for a couple $100, and you can certainly spend $10,000 if you want to.
Well, you see all those pictures of the dogs posing on the couch and different pictures and stuff, but this is hilarious.
These are great.
I can't imagine having a shot of your dog like this.
I wish this wasn't radio. I'd like to hold this up to the microphone so people can see the pictures.
And he can expand. There's all that. Next one could be dogs on trampolines.
What's next for you, Seth?
I think you just gave him an idea, Alan.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to follow this one up?
Well, I'm actually working on a new book project, which I'm really excited about. So we're going to be announcing that here in the new year. So I'll start to shoot that in January. I'm also going to be announcing a shelter pet photography workshop tour. So I have a nonprofit called Second Chance. The goal is to help homeless pets find forever homes through better photography. It's such an important part of rescue and adoption. So I'm going to be teaching workshops at animal shelters around the country, teaching staff and volunteers how to take better pictures to save lives. So I'll be doing that starting this spring and continuing now through the summer and so forth. So we're really excited about that as well.
The publisher of the book just picked it up just like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I went from 0 to 100 overnight. I mean, I was just a guy swimming around in a pool with dogs. I thought that was kind of crazy. And then the next day, millions of people had seen the photos, and Little Brown had contacted me, and we did the book deal, and it's been a lot of fun, really positive thing. You know, dogs inspire me as they inspire, millions of people around the world just with the way they live and what they teach us about life.
Now, this was this was your first book, and it just took off like this.
This is my first book, yeah. Didn't have a book before this. It's doing really well. I mean, I wasn't sure how I was going to do. I mean, people don't really know me too much, but what people do love is dogs, and I think that's the secret with this book. It's just a really happy, positive thing, and people want to have a celebration of dogs, which is great. So it's a New York Times bestseller for 5 weeks now, and it's just doing well here in the United States and also doing really well in many other countries, too.
You bring up a good point, though, buddy, because every week in the paper there are a picture of dogs, and I've seen the same ones in there quite a few times that the shelter will put in to try to adopt dogs, and I just wonder now if they took a better picture, if they knew what they were doing with the camera, if they could generate more interest by, making the dog look a certain way.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen stats that better pictures do, in fact, save lives. And the program I'm launching is called One Picture Can Save a Life. And it really is true. If you have a lousy picture online at an animal shelter's website, or you have a fantastic picture that's really showcasing the unique personality of this particular dog or cat, it just makes a huge difference. And we've seen one picture save a life countless times. All it takes is that picture to make a connection. And people naturally have a connection to dogs and cats anyways. And if you can find a way to tell their story in a picture or a series of pictures, you can make that difference.
Let's go ahead and give away a few copies of the calendar and the book right now. Underwater Dogs is the name of the calendar and the book. Seth Casteel is the author. And I'll put another stocking stuffer under your tree. No, you wouldn't do that. You'd put the stocking on the... You know what I mean.
Yeah, stockings don't go under the tree, Hal.
And if you're not lucky enough to get through, head on over to your local bookstore or Amazon.com. If your bookstore doesn't have it, that's because they probably sold out. Underwater Dogs is the name of it. Seth, we appreciate you joining us today.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Happy holidays.
You too.
I like that guy.
He lucked into that.
Oh, man, he's so cool, though.
He just rose to fame real quick.
Isn't that funny, though, how most great ideas happen that way? I mean, it's just something that nobody thought of, and it's right in front of your face, just staring at you.
This is Jerry Seinfeld saying Happy Holiday, Happy New Year, Happy You, and see you next year.
I would love to go on vacation, but I don't want to leave our Charlie behind.
I agree. I heard that the magazine Fido Friendly lists places where you can stay with your pet. They also offer reviews so you have an idea about pet policy to include any restrictions, fees, and what pet amenities to expect.
That's, dare I say, awesome. What are we waiting for?
I'm way ahead of you. I just logged on to FidoFriendly.com and found a 4-star resort. Hilton Santa Fe Resort and Spa at Buffalo Thunder in New Mexico.
Charlie agrees. When do we leave?
As soon as you can pack your bags. It's off to adventure with Charlie, thanks to Fido Friendly Magazine. To find your next family adventure that includes your furry family friend, log on to FidoFriendly.com.
It's Animal Radio. 3 days before Christmas. Most of us have done our Christmas shopping. What about you, Joey? Have you done yours yet?
Most of it. I still have a few things to get, but most of it, yeah.
Alan, how about you?
Well, Hal, now that you got the emotional, sad Christmas music on and the tears are coming out of my eyes.
It's eggnog music. It's relaxing.
I've taught my kids to buy me things and that they don't need presents. You know what, Hal? We should do some countdowns on the show. We should do the top 10 most annoying dog barks of 2012. Maybe the top 12 dog stories. I mean, I got lots of ideas. I wish you'd use me more, Hal, my genius brain that I sit on. I wish you'd pry into it, as it were.
I'm frightened, actually. Not sure I want to pry into it. You know who's in studio with us? Is Lynn and Roy Rodin. And they're, of course, we've been talking to them the last few weeks about their bike ride across the country, going from Washington to Florida, all to raise awareness for Parkinson's disease. And, of course, Roy has Parkinson's disease. He had brain surgery. He's actually right here. I don't really have to tell. Hey, Roy, welcome to the studio.
Hello, thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Now, what's the deal? You had brain surgery?
I did. It's called DBS, stands for Deep Brain Stimulation. And, it's almost an outpatient kind of thing. They actually
Really?
do the surgery while you're awake because you have to follow commands.
Oh, and when you were done, you just decided to head on a bike ride.
My wife caught me at a weak moment. I just had brain surgery. I think I was still on anesthesia, and she held me to it. So, yeah.
And all to raise awareness for Parkinson's disease and also...
Absolutely. Well, not just to raise awareness and funds, but it's also to talk to people who have Parkinson's, to talk about their options.
Oh.
Whether it be DBS with a Medtronic device like I have, which is like a pacemaker for your brain, or just their different options with drugs and exercise, and it's not the end of the world.
You know, it looks like you're not suffering from Parkinson's disease. I mean, it looks.
What does it look like I'm suffering from?
It does it. Well, maybe a sore butt from.
See, I was going to say, notice how they're both standing.
Yes. Now, how many miles have you driven so far?
So far, I'm not exactly sure. It's going to be about 1,300 miles.
Wow. And, of course, you have the dogs with you, Samantha and Oliver, right? Mm-hmm. They're big dogs.
Yeah, they're, well, considerably large. I mean, looking at a Chihuahua, yeah, they'd be considered large.
They usually ride on the back of your bike, or there's a little...
Yeah, we converted like a child carriage that you would pull behind a bicycle into a dog carriage. We
wow.
kind of mechanized the bottom, pulled the bottom out, put in wood, and where the wood isn't, we also cushioned it on top. So,
do they like the ride? Do they mind?
The Oliver loves it.
Come on over to the microphone, Lynn.
Oliver loves it. As long as he's lying down, he's happy, and if that means going down the road in traffic, he's fine. Samantha is definitely more interested in running around and seeing what's going on.
Roy is shaking his head no to this here. What was that, Joey?
Any big hills that you've come up to where you looked at and said, "Oh my God, we got to go up this"?
Yeah. Any? More like 100, 2,000, all of them.
There's lots.
Yeah,
you guys are going the southern route, though, so you're going to avoid the Rockies and a bunch of mountain ranges, which is a good idea. Right?
Well,
the Black Hills.
Absolutely. Well, we've gone down and up a lot of hills already. I'm hoping we're about free of them right now. Don't forget, we came from Seattle.
Oh, yes.
And it seems that everywhere we've gone, we brought the weather with us. We've seen hurricane winds. We've seen... and that's another thing. What is with the wind up on this coast? I mean, everything is going windy. From south to north right now. It's in our face.
That's right.
But everything is warm. It is nice. Not like Florida.
Right now
nice.
Is beautiful.
Yeah.
Right now is gorgeous. Today is gorgeous.
And it's not raining.
Yeah. Do you regret at all what you're doing, the bike ride? Have you? I mean, were you
not
like 1,000 miles in and said,
no? Never, ever. I mean, it seems to me that we've met wonderful people. We've had great experiences, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Now, what about you, Lynn? Do you feel the same way that Roy does on this?
Oh, I'm excited. I get very frustrated on those days where I can't ride, whether it's because of the rain or because we have to take care of something in the trailer, or I'm enjoying the ride completely.
Now, that's Samantha and Oliver we hear in the background there.
Samantha specifically, yes.
Oh, she's kind of a noisy one, huh?
She wants to know what's going on all the time.
Oh, very well. Most dogs do. What are you going to be doing on Christmas? Just a few days away. Are you going to be biking, or are you going to take a little stop?
I imagine we're going to take a little stop, just take a breather. But
we have friends in L.A., so they don't know it yet, but we're hoping to hit them up for Christmas.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys has dropped by for this.
Today is Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Thank you very much. Well, we're going to let you get back to the dogs and back to the road. We appreciate it. Please stay in touch. Let us know where you are in each city.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Roy.
Well, before you go, Roy, on the chafing scale, how are you doing? On a scale of 1 to 10, how's the chafing?
Do you know what? You know how thick the leather on a catcher's mitt is? Let's just leave it at that.
There's a visual for you. There you
know, all I'm going to say is he definitely loves his wife, because I know I would be about 100 miles into this, and you would be reading about this in the paper, but it wouldn't be me driving cross country. It would be a murder investigation.
Well, if you had the view that I have when she's up front.
Oh, no. Boy.
There you go.
Oh, boy, you're a lucky man.
Is there something you wanted to say, Liz?
Yes, I did just want to thank two of our sponsors specifically because they are animal friendly. One is Life's Abundance, who donated all of the dog food for our trip, as well as onlyforpetlovers.com, who sponsored us personally to help us.
What do they do over at onlyforpetlovers.com?
They are the only online website that helps with all animals, not just dogs and cats. So
Good people helping you along with your bike ride. We will check in with you next week. We'll be back to the phones next.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Reiser, and you're listening to Animal Radio. Every minute you're here, you're not harming someone else. I don't know what that means. If it's usable, use it. Otherwise, cut it and get out.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it.
800-410-5914. 800-410-5914. 800-410-5914. That's 800-410-5914.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
As we get ready for the holidays, if you haven't done your shopping yet, we have some good stuff for you, which include the DNA Poo Prints kit. If you have a neighbor that, let's say their dog keeps pooping on your lawn and you want to prove it to the nth degree, we'll have one of these kits for you today, as well as a tag pet tracker, all kinds of. It's amazing. What we do here at Animal Radio is we have a Christmas tree and a Hanukkah bush here. It has all kinds of gifts underneath it, and we give these gifts to you and your pet. Stacy, what are you working on?
So how do you feel about unicorns? Do you think they're real?
Sure.
Some people really do believe in them, I guess. There's some mythical creature. I don't know. Do they bring good luck to you if you rub the thing
the
that
horn,
sticks out?
Yeah, the little stiffy.
Oh, I'm not going to forget that. You know what I mean. If you the thing on top of their head.
Oh, my God.
Stop it. Okay, anyway, North Korea seems to have proof that unicorns were once real. I'll give you all the details. Coming up on Animal Radio News.
Does anyone doubt the existence of a unicorn here?
Yeah, no, right up there with mermaids.
As you can tell, we probably had a little too much eggnog. Let's go to line 4, where we have Dean on the phone. Hi, Dean.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. What's going on in your world?
I have 2 Siberian Huskies. One's a 8-month-year-old and one's a year and 8-month-year-old. And the 8-month-year-old, she just went into heat about maybe 2 weeks ago. And the 1 and 8-month-year-old is just going crazy.
He's a boy, I take it?
What's that?
He's a boy?
Yes, he's a boy, and the 8-month-old is a girl.
Okay, and they're not, and he's not neutered then, huh?
No, they're both not neutered. I'm going to breed them when she gets of age. I asked the vet already, and she said it was kind of too early for her to have puppies, because she might not show interest in the puppies if she has them. So I've been trying to keep them away, but the 1 and 8-month-year-old is just driving me nuts. And I was just wondering if there's anything that I can give them to settle him down.
Well, don't underestimate the call of the wild here. That's going to be the honest truth here. And having a unneutered male in the house or in the vicinity of an intact female is, in many cases, it's torture. I've had dogs that board that will not eat the whole time they are in the same building as a female in heat. They can really just get that stressed out. So yeah, it can definitely really cause them a lot of stress and really get them worked up. So if I can't talk you into spaying this girl, because that'll be the best thing I could recommend for her sake to help prevent reproductive problems and cancers, I would say is that you get another 2 whole weeks at least of kind of dealing with this. And I have found that sedatives can be used, but they don't typically help because they're still sensing those hormones and they're still going to react. It may make him a little bit quieter and may kind of slow down some of his intentions. But it's not going to stop his responses. So for many cases, I'll actually do a physical separation. So call your aunt, your grandma, your brother, and say, hey, can I put my male dog up at your house for another couple weeks? That would be the kindest thing I could say for both. And it'd be the truest way to make sure you don't get an accidental breeding. Because there are dogs that will open doors to get to the female in heat on the other side. So be cautious.
I work at night, and I have a fence all around my property, and it's like 8 foot high, and he's been jumping over the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been getting calls at my work at night. I work on the freeways as a construction worker at night. They call me and say, "Hey, your dog got out. Neighbor brought him back. I'm like, holy moly, man. So it's just been driving me crazy. But
yeah,
it's not bad for his heart to be in so much stress every day, every minute of the day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the best thing would be to get him out of that environment.
Okay.
Can you keep him in the same house? Yeah, you probably can. Is it going to cause him a lot of stress? Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that sedatives are going to really stop that. So, yeah. And I definitely agree with your veterinarian's, recommendation to not want to breed her. She's still a baby. She's really just a little teenager right now. So, for her size and growth, she's still got some growing to do in the next 6 months. So I would agree we wouldn't want to allow her to get pregnant at this time in the game.
Yeah, would it harm her if she happened to mate?
Well, I mean, we definitely know that we can have less maternal responses. We can sometimes have lower litter sizes. So it's really not in her best interest. And I would say I would do everything you can to get this girl spayed. To get her to not be pregnant at this time in the game.
Yeah. I was thinking about spading her maybe after 2 litters. But how would that go on her being such being an older dog to get spayed? Would that hurt her at all?
No, I mean there's not a dog that's too old to get spayed just based on age alone. Now, health conditions and things like that are certainly a concern and maybe in an older age pet. But we just spayed a dog that was 10, 11 years old the other day, and there's still a lot of health benefits from doing that at any point in the game. But we prefer to do it before they get older, before they go through those heat cycles to minimize the risk of breast cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, all that stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you very much for answering my question.
Thank you. Have a wonderful Christmas and a good holiday, Dean. We appreciate your call.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Fear Free, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfree.com to find care near you.
Hi, this is Ed Begley Jr. on Animal Radio. Live simply so that others may simply live.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Thinking of giving that cute little puppy for Christmas? Experts say it's not a very good idea. Puppies need constant attention and supervision, and house training should start immediately, and the holidays are usually filled with too much activity to bring a new puppy into a family. Puppies can also get into things that could harm them, like tinsel, ornaments, rich foods and candy, and Christmas lights. Holidays are very stressful for some families. A new puppy deserves a calm and peaceful home. A pet can bring year-round joy, but it's also a lifelong commitment. This year, just re-gift that fruitcake you got last year. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
It's the time of year when everyone is out shopping, fighting for parking spaces, and spending way too much money, all in pursuit of the perfect present. Maybe the best gift is one we already enjoy every day. This season, why not consider the presence of our animal friends as our present? Animals gift us with their lives for our comfort and convenience. They lift our spirits, inspire great works of art, song, and poetry, and are the most agreeable companions. All it takes is one small, cheerful sparrow in the backyard to remind us that we are never alone. Scientific studies show that the unconditional love of our pets can touch and heal us in magnificent ways. People experience lower blood pressure, stress, and heart rates when in the presence of their animal companions. Those who have suffered heart attacks live longer if they have an animal friend than if they don't. And people with pets just make fewer trips to the doctor's office. If we are suffering from depression, having a dog to walk, a cat to care for, a bird to talk to, or even watching fish in an aquarium helps us find a focus outside our sadness and allows us to connect with the larger world. When horses allowed us on their backs, they gifted us with the ability to travel farther than our own 2 feet could ever carry us. Today, it is still horsepower that gets us to the mall. Pigeons have saved the lives of soldiers by carrying secret information across enemy lines. The seashell murex gives its life to gift us with the color purple. Bats gift us with lovely and peaceful twilights by eating mosquitoes. For the ancient Romans, a magical woodpecker brought rain to refresh and revitalize a city. That is a great present. It was Raven who brought fire to humankind, and in the Quran, the Saluki breed of dog is considered a gift of Allah. One of the most prized gifts one could receive from the ancient Chinese emperor was one of his royal dogs. And how long would Noah have been adrift if a dove had not found land? A recent study found that workers would be willing to take a cut in salary and work longer hours if they could bring their dog to work. A survey by Time magazine found that playing with a pet improved one's mood more than exercise, eating, or sex. If you happen to be ill in France and a ladybug lands on you, she will fly away with your sickness. Earthworms work the soil so our flowers will flourish. Bees give us honey. And my favorite, butterflies prove to us that even if we sometimes creep like a caterpillar, we hold within us the power to spread our wings and fly. So during this holiday season, consider the presence of your animal friends as your present, and have your presence be their present too. Happy holidays from Voice of the Animal and Rayanne Cumulos.
We wish you a squeaky Christmas. We wish you a squeaky Christmas. We wish you a squeaky Christmas with no fleas in your ears. We all love our dog toys. We all love our dog toys. We all love our dog toys. So bring one right here. We wish you a squeaky Christmas. We wish you a squeaky Christmas with no fleas in your ears.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. That's 800-705-1198.
It's Animal Radio. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. What's going on in your world?
I think I need to talk to Dr. Debbie. I have an unusual situation. I have 4 Boston Terriers, and I have one of them who's at 6 years old. He has developed a weird thing when the leaves started to fall this year that he's never had before. And that's where he starts bubbling out of his nose, and he has trouble breathing, and then he might fall over on his side and spit up phlegm and then be okay. But it's seemingly you can see that he's in distress. We've been to the emergency clinic and alternative, integrative veterinarian here and a regular veterinarian, and nobody seems to really have a real answer. Or they just want to put him on prednisone or Temerol P and Benadryl, and then he seems okay, sort of. And then when we start to wean him off, he goes back to the same weird behavior. And we've had leaves, for the 6 years that we have had him, and this is the first time I've ever seen this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so has he had problems breathing unrelated to the fall? Being a Boston Terrier, has he had problems with any kind of nasal surgery, soft palate, as far as stenotic
He
nares?
had, before the age of 12 months, he had 2 soft palate surgeries at Ohio State University.
Okay.
And the nasal one, too.
Okay. All right. So he has. So, and that's the big thing. Now, when he has the episodes, when he's bubbling in that, does he just fall over kind of all of a sudden, have any kind of seizure-like activity?
It does not look like a seizure, and they don't think that it is. They think that he can't get air. And because right afterwards he spits up white phlegm, and then he's like fine. And he's not really passing out, but he just falls over on his side. And when he does that, it's and I've even tried, like I've given the Heimlich, and the white phlegm will pop out and he'll feel fine. So what they're saying is they think it's accumulating, the excessive mucus is accumulating, and I was told he has an extra fat tongue, and that he has, even since the surgery, he just has a tiny little opening, through his throat.
I gotcha. All right. And that's going to be the big thing is what I think your boy is doing is having vagal episodes. And this is actually something that happens a lot in the brachycephalic breeds, the short-faced breeds. And one of the reasons is that, well, I'll back up. The vagus nerve is a nerve that goes from the head down to the abdomen. And there can be certain things in the body that disrupt that or overstimulate that nerve. For some animals and people, it can be things like digestive problems. It can be respiratory problems. And I see this a lot in the brachycephalics, that if they have a lot of the respiratory components to the upper airway disease, they have the narrowed nostrils, they have a narrow trachea, long soft palate. They can even get everted tracheal or laryngeal saccules and some other changes up there. So some of those things they might not see, but they might suspect. You'd have to kind of go up with a scope to see some of those other things in the back of the throat. But just being of that breed and having some of these airway changes, it's going to make it very likely that the vagus nerve can get overstimulated. And what happens with that? The heart rate drops, and the heart doesn't pump as well, and the blood pressure drops, and the pet will pass out. And it usually come right back up. I've even seen dogs do this after they vomit. So where they'll vomit and then they just pass out and then they come right back up. So the goal would be is to try to address what is the biggest problem, and that's going to be the respiratory disease. So that might mean going to have, some of these other upper airway things evaluated and to see if those need to be addressed. And then the other thing is, if we have allergies, something seasonal that makes our respiratory symptoms worse, oh boy, you've got an extra whammy onto the whole thing there. So then we might talk about, things like, steroids can be helpful for the short term, but you may even want to see a dermatologist for allergy testing. And molds, just like anything else seasonally, we can test for. We can desensitize a pet with hyposensitization injections, and that might be one thing you can do.
You can do that to mold, leaf mold?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And every region in the country is a little different in some of those things, so you have to make sure that testing is done appropriate for your area.
I see. And then the other little Boston Terrier that actually is his daughter that I have, she just started doing the bubbling too. And I thought, okay, now we know this is because they've been at the vet. We know there's nothing contagious going on here. But at the same thing, she'll go outside and she'll play with a ball in the leaves, and then she'll come back in, and she's not as bad as him. But she's doing it now too, and I'm thinking, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, so I would definitely make sure if she hasn't had her nares evaluated or corrected, that'd be definitely one of the first things. But even going further back and going up with a scope, because some of these things they're progressive, so you can correct. And with the brachycephalic dogs, we want to jump on these things when they're young, because with time, all these other components start to involve. And once some of the more chronic things happen, you can't reverse them more easily. So we want to get in there beforehand, do the soft palate, do the stenotic nares if necessary, because there's all these other problems that will come on and that just are so much more challenging to deal with.
Wow. Okay. All right. You don't know anybody that's in this area that's a specialist in this type of thing, do you?
If you're dealing with veterinary schools, you're going to find a lot of the people at the top of their fields right there. And as far as in dermatology, they're going to have dermatologists there as well. So I think you're going to have two different type of approaches. One is going to be address the allergies, and the second is going to be address the upper airways, and that'll be through an internal medicine type specialist.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks for your call, Debbie.
Hi, I'm Dan Aykroyd. Have the happiest of holidays.
This is Heather Locklear wishing you all the merriest Christmas.
Hey, this is Sean Hayes on Animal Radio. Remember to spay and neuter your pets.
If you're between the ages of 55 and 63, disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. The average is about $1,300 a month. It's a benefit you are entitled to from working. Use it to pay your normal living expenses. This free call only takes 10 minutes, and it could provide you the necessary financial relief you need. Plus, our services cost you nothing until you receive your benefit check. Save yourself time and aggravation. We know how to get the job done for you as quickly as possible. So if you are physically or mentally disabled and can't return to work, and you're between the ages of 55 and 63, learn if you qualify for your $1,300 a month check. Make this free call right now to the Social Security Disability Helpline.
800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. That's 800-380-4429.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. There's a city in Sweden that's going to great lengths to protect a goat. Well, it's not an ordinary goat. The horned animal in question is a 42.5-foot tall straw goat that the city uses every year. It's part of a Christmas tradition. It started in 1966. Now, while the goat's become pretty popular in the Swedish city, it's also become a target for vandals and arsonists. One resident says it appears another attempt was made on the goat this year. Why they're picking on the goat, nobody knows. At the structure's official inauguration, the front hoof smelled of gasoline. But this time, the city took no chances, and they hired a private security guard to watch this Christmas goat and keep it safe. So, do you believe in unicorns? Do you think they exist? Some people really do. They think they're real. Those who thought unicorns were relegated only to the annals of fairy tales and storybooks need look no further than North Korea for confirmation about the mythical beast. Professor Sung-Young Lee with Tufts University analyzes the revelation about a unicorn lair.
The intent behind this is to try to bolster up the credentials of the young leader who is still in his 20s. North Korea likes to make the claim that heroic blood runs in the family.
Well, according to the Korean Central News Agency, archaeologists from the History Institute of North Korea have reconfirmed a unicorn lair that was present around the year 277 BC. It was purportedly located right in the capital city of Pyongyang. The lair was discovered nearby a rectangular rock with the words unicorn lair carved into it. Some media reports indicate the KCNA article may be a tongue-in-cheek response to a humor newspaper, The Onion's fictional article that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was named the sexiest man alive. Oh, that is a bad joke, though, huh? Simon Cowell, he's a big fan of flippers, and we're not talking about beach gear. The judge, who's known for being a little bit of a curmudgeon, apparently likes penguins so much that he said he'd love to have one of them to call his own. Can you believe that? Watching Mr. Popper's Penguins again, tweeted this week, I love this film. I really do. I want a pet penguin. The 2011 film, based on a kid's book of the same name, stars Jim Carrey as a divorced real estate entrepreneur who's bequeathed a Gentoo penguin named Captain in his late father's will. But when he tries to send him back due to a mix-up, 5 more come. Suddenly, he's sharing his New York City apartment, which doesn't allow pets, with a bunch of birds. Of course, if Cal really wanted a penguin, we're sure he has the cash to afford one. He'd have to purchase an entire zoo, though. It's not legal to keep a penguin as a domesticated pet in the U.S. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hello, this is Franz from Hans in France. Don't be a girly man. Get your dog spayed and neutered. And just because you spay or neuter your dog, it does not make them a girly dog.
Need a fix of the good stuff? Get more Animal Radio with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
You want to talk, Deb? Let's talk. Let's dish, girl.
You know what? I got to tell you, I hate being a patient. I'm a bad patient.
Why is that?
Did you have to go to the doctor?
I had a doctor's appointment the other day, just a dermatology thing. But you know what? I'm always like trying to second guess the doctor.
Oh. Well, dermatology, it's like voodoo. It's not even like science. I mean, they don't really do anything. And you got to wait like 3 months to see them. And then you get in there and they have no idea what's up. They don't know what's going on unless you got like a mole or something. They can't really help you with the pimple thing.
Yeah, anything can cause it. You have to eliminate everything. So, yeah. So I like to play, house anyways. So I'm trying to diagnose myself.
Why did you go? What's wrong with you? You're perfect.
You look absolutely dashing. I can't imagine why you would.
Like a movie star.
Thank you. Well, I'm all about preventative health care, so I'm maybe a little bit paranoid at times.
Yeah, my wife's a hypochondriac.
No. I'm not that. I'm just vigilant.
No.
Yeah, this radio show.
Yeah, I keep forgetting we're doing a radio show.
Sorry.
I get so engaged.
Give me that eggnog. No more for you.
No time for a radio show. We're talking here.
Yeah, really.
Is he on the phone? This is cool. Our next guest, Eric Meyer, put together a DNA collection kit for now. It's for dogs, and it's not to figure out
what breed they are.
It's to find out what kind of poo.
Stole the cookies.
Well, no, close. For instance, I go out on my lawn every day, and I see some dog is taking a crap out on my lawn.
Oh, that's a neighbor's across the street. I know it is.
There are now
I can't prove it.
Apartment complexes where you have to submit, if you have a dog, you have to submit their DNA, so if they find crap on the lawn, they know which apartment it came from.
I love it.
Dog. Oh, my God.
So Eric has put together these DNA collection kit, which really means crap collection kit. And to find out who it belongs, I got him on the phone. Hey, Eric, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us a little bit about this invention and what influenced you to do this. Obviously, you probably had a dog crapping on your lawn problem.
Well, actually, this came from some of the research scientists at BioPet Vet Lab.
Okay.
They, like you said, had a pet waste problem in one of the apartment complexes that one of our scientists used to live in. And so they started thinking to themselves, how can we solve this problem? We have this vet lab. We have this DNA technology. There's got to be some way we can come up with a solution. And so that's really how Poo Prints was born.
Poo Prints, P-O-O Prints, P-R-I-N-T-S. So we go out and we collect dogs' poo, but how do we really determine who it belongs to, or is it something that we have to do some due diligence beforehand and get everyone's DNA or every dog's DNA beforehand?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Most of the managed communities that use Poo Prints, they will have collected just a small cheek swab sample of the pet's DNA of all the pets in the community. And then those are held in a secure online database. And at that point, if there is ever any waste found in the community, a little small sample can be sent into the laboratory for analysis, matched up, and they've identified the poopatrator, as we like to call them.
Hey, what about dogs that are poop recyclers? So Fluffy might eat Bozo's feces. Is there a way to detect whether that would be a problem?
Good question.
Well, if there's ever any other pets involved, it shows up sort of as contamination. So we can determine, if it came from one pet or if there's any other, sources in there. We can elucidate that in the laboratory.
Are you finding a lot of cities and complexes are fining people that don't pick up their dog poo?
Well, it's really up to each, managed community or each municipality how they want to do that after the fact. We don't get involved with any enforcement, but some will do a warning, some will do a fine. Sometimes they just go talk to the pet owner and say, hey, it's good if you clean up after your pet. It creates a nice, clean, green living environment, and it prevents all the bacteria from the pet waste from ever washing into the water supply when it rains.
And I've got to say that, as a veterinary health professional, it is just a good thing to pick up your dog's waste because, that's harboring parasites for other animals as well as other infectious diseases. So, if we got to encourage people with a little threats and a little bit of DNA evidence, I'm all for it. Let's keep our pets healthy and keep that poo picked up. And maybe people will stay healthy, too,
And I would say, Dr. Debbie, if you will, that people look at this the wrong way. I mean, why does it have to be a negative? Why can't it be fun to pick up your pet's poop?
That's what I'm saying.
Why?
That's a good point. Actually, some of our communities, they actually have a lot of fun with it. They'll do pet days. They hand out little scoop bags that attach to the pet's leash, so that it is kind of like a fun activity.
Well, I think people that can't pick up their pet poo are too lazy to do that. Just get off your butts and do it, for crimini's sake. It's crazy. I see that Dallas already has a pooper scooper law. I was unaware of this. What's that about?
Yeah, well, actually, interestingly, a lot of these metro cities, in fact, I would say most of them already have some type of pooper scooper law on the books. And I believe one of the first was New York that passed one in the mid-'70s. And really, it's an ordinance that says if you are walking your pet in any public area or any private areas that are not your own, you got to pick up after your pet's waste. It helps clean up the environment, helps prevent the spread of bacteria and parasites, as you guys have already mentioned. So a lot of these cities have these ordinances on the books, but we're finding that they're not always, enforceable and they're not always being followed, at least, as much as they probably should be by pet owners.
I'm going to try to, you give me a great idea. I'm going to try to train my dog to pick up after himself.
That'd be great if he had some thumbs. He could just put it in a bag for himself. But until they can do that, we've got to do it for them.
Okay, what's the website? Where can people learn more about Poo Prints?
You can go to pooprints.com, like you said, POOPRINTS.com, and check us out.
How much does the kit cost?
Well, the original DNA collection kit can be as low as $29.95. And we actually have independent distributors around the country that can help do training on your community. They can help do assist with the pet waste collections as well. So there's all kinds of other services that we provide to these communities that they really don't have to do anything. And all they get is a nice, clean area to live in.
You got to love that. Eric, we thank you so much for joining us today. Eric Mayer, the Director of Business Development for Poo Prints. PooPrints.com. We'll put a link over at the animalradio.com website.
Seriously, how long is it going to be before these condo associations put a meter on your face and charge you for the air you breathe?
What, they're not doing that at your place yet?
You're obese. You're breathing too much. We're going to have to charge you an extra assessment. I mean, who are these people that go around and, we have people like that in this neighborhood. There's always like 5% idiots, and they just want to control everything everybody does. And, if anybody has something they don't have, they want to make it illegal to have it.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. That's 800-434-5019.
Hi, it's Alan Cable with today's dog tip. So you've done your homework, you're ready to make an incredible commitment and get yourself a puppy. You know the responsibility you're taking on, and you've thought long and hard about what kind of puppy you want and how best to pick him or her out. Or did you? When I met my lady, my last dog was a well-behaved, well-socialized grown adult. He passed and she wanted a puppy. I tried to prepare her for the storm that was coming. She said she understood, and so a very lucky stroke. My neighbors got together, a lab and a shepherd, and they had puppies. Now this was great because it enabled me to do some incredible preparation and homework. Firstly, I could observe the puppies as often as I wanted, and when they got older, I could take a couple at a time and visit my backyard. So let's talk about picking out puppies. You know, when you go to the supermarket, you just don't pick up any cucumber and stick it in your cart. No, it's got to be a beautiful green cucumber, crisp and ripe. Many people just pick out puppies or dogs just based on how they look. But shouldn't you ask yourself what personality traits you'd most like to see in a puppy? And whether or not you want a smart dog. The best way to gauge a puppy's intelligence is to observe him. Puppies have very short attention spans. They can't focus very long on anything. Kind of like guys when you're talking about your relationship. They're on to the next thing before you can snap your finger. So if you observe a puppy that can focus for 10, 15 seconds on an object or anything, that's a great sign of intelligence. Also, watch how the puppy interacts with the other puppies. Does he leave the pack occasionally, go off on his own to explore? Or does he always cling tightly to the group? When he plays, is he dominant or is he submissive? And watch how his mother corrects him when she doesn't like the behavior. Usually grabbing him by the neck with her teeth or pushing him down to the ground. That's another important thing to observe, how a mother corrects bad behavior in her pups. You're going to be doing a lot of correcting when you bring your puppy home. Okay, so to be prepared for your first night, your dog is going to wail and whine all night long. My wife wanted me to return him the next day. He's away from his mother and his litter mates for the first time. He's scared. He's in a strange environment, and he's calling out to them, and more than likely, he'll do it for a week or two. Do yourself a favor and get a crate, and we'll be talking about crate and potty training next time.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Hey, Ron, how are you?
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you. Dr. Debbie, I've got a question for you. I've got the love of my life is a 13-year-old miniature Australian Shepherd, and she's, of course, getting up a little bit in years, and her vet is wanting me to switch her over to a high-fiber food. Now, I've had her on pedigree for quite a few years and having some challenges finding a source of that I know I'm going to have to gradually wean her over to that. Is there another possible brand I can look at? I know several in the field you're in believe strongly in the science diet stuff, and I've not exactly had the best luck with that. I want her, not that she's spoiled. I draw the line at dressing her in clothes. I will say that up front.
There's nothing. Let me just say, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm with you, Judy.
I want her to have the best of what she needs because, I've had her for 13 years, and Lord willing, I think she, her previous vet had said she could be up to 20 years.
Well, you're doing something right, and I guess the first question I would have for you, Ron, is there any kind of chronic health condition that we're dealing with? Because when we look at diets, it really depends on not only on the age, but what other factors are going on in the dog's life. Do we have a kidney problem, arthritis? Do we have any kind of digestive issues? And that's really kind of more how I gauge a diet choice rather than necessarily a brand or a name of a food. So does she have anything going on?
The only thing she's had lately, bless her little heart, of course, here in the Midwest, we've been up to our in snow recently, and we have another front moving in about the next day. She got to a point a couple of weeks ago, she literally would not go outside and have a bowel movement because the snow was higher on the ground than she was.
Okay.
Poor thing ended up in the emergency room, and they had to give her an enema.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yeah,
so I see why he's recommending the higher fiber then, because he wants to keep things moving in the old bowel category, huh?
That's what my guess is, and I'm just trying to think of the best thing. One thing I will not give her is Old Roy. I'm sorry. I don't even give that to a dog.
Thank you.
Well, and I have to tell you, Ron, everyone's different, but I haven't had a lot of success with pedigree in my patients. I see a lot more inconsistent stools with that. Now, some folks say it works wonderful for them. And I'm not out to food bash, but I'd say I want to look for a good quality food. If you don't like science diet, that's fine. There's a lot of other great diets out there. Currently, I like a lot of the Royal Canin diets. They have different life stage. They even have some breed-specific foods. I don't know if I'll go that far to say a Chihuahua diet is different than a Poodle's diet. I think that might be a little bit silly now, but I think if you're looking for good brands like Nutro, Royal Canin, if you like kind of going towards some of the more natural choices, you can look at some of the organic diets. But those can be a little bit harder to kind of stay on top of as far as in kind of a nationwide, for me to advise you in your area there. But I'd say, if you haven't had good success with Science Diet, try another. If your veterinarian does not have a specific diet that they have in mind, because sometimes with constipation, I will use prescription level diets, and that's where Science Diet does have some very good therapeutic foods for pets that have constipation, that have diabetes, etc., as well as Purina, which has some very nice foods for some of those types of digestive problems. So, and that would be something, always ask your veterinarian as far as for these things, because some vets will carry these things in their office. Otherwise, I'd say really the biggest test is going to see what she likes and what she accepts, and make sure that is palatable, because no diet is going to do any good if they don't eat it.
Yeah, because we do not get table scraps.
Good. I like you, Ron. Yeah. You're like hardcore. You're like me. I'm like a diet Nazi at my house. My dogs sit, and I make them take a command before they eat, and that is just a kind of a silent way for them to learn that, I'm the boss. I'm the alpha pack leader in the house, and they love their food, and they gobble it right up, and it's just a great way to kind of bond with your animal.
She's the alpha pack leader here too. But she comes in, she snaps her rubber gloves before she puts her headphones on. Have yourself the most blessed Christmas, and we'll see you next week.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.